A very good afternoon, one and all. I welcome you all on behalf of Tungal College, and this is Ritesh Zavalkar, your Faculty of Biology. And we are learning a very important and interesting chapter, chapter number 8, Human Health and Disease. And today is going to be the lecture number 4, where we people are going to learn regarding the human defense system, human immunity. Whenever the pathogen attacks a human body, it does not mean that the body will just go on watching it. Never it happens. Body will respond it very fast. So we need to check down what response our body will give against that entered pathogen so that our body's defense system will kill that each and every pathogen particles or its substances present in the body. So we are going to begin with this most interesting particular session, which does not complete in a single class. It's going to take up surely 1 to maximum 3 classes to complete down this immunity concept. So let's begin without wasting a time with this today's particular session as a starting part. But before the things, as every time we do it, quote of a day. Do the best you can until you know better. Always try to do from your side the best until you know it is more better. The day you will understand I have done it better, do again more better than that. This is the usual method by which you can achieve any targets, whatever is possible. Is it true? Is everybody able to listen? From my side, everything is very clean and clear. Just respond me up. Okay, shalom. So do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do more better so that the target is achieved very easily. With this beautiful quote of a day, let's begin our interesting session. As I've already said, human defense system. Technically, we use the word called immunity. What is immunity? Immunity is resistance towards diseases. Means in simple language, I can say immunity is body's defense system towards the entered pathogens. Any pathogen or its substances, when are entered inside the body suddenly responds in a very aggressive manner to kill that particles, so that body should not get any harm by those substances. Such any pathogen, our body cannot identify it as pathogen. It always considers it as a foreign substance. What is foreign? Foreign means any substances which are not the part of his body is called foreign materials or a foreign substances. It may be any chemical, it may be a carbohydrate, it may be a protein, it may be a lipid, any substances when are being added inside the body's defense system activates, saying that who are you? You are never the part of this body. So now I'm going to kill up your each and every fine particles, because I don't know whether you are good or wrong, but I know that if I give you a permission, there may be a likely chance you may dominate and you may harm the body. So at presently, I am taking a decision to kill you out. This is resistance of the body. So immunity is body's defense system, or it is a resistance towards diseases. It is a body's ability to destroy the pathogens or any foreign materials to prevent further cases of certain infectious diseases. Body never wants to take a risk. He does not want to see is it good or is it bad. He just says that you have come, you are never the part of this body, so I'm going to neutralize, I'm going to kill you out. This immunity term was first time defined by Sir Macfarlane Burnet. He had coined this particular word. But the branch of science that deals with this immune system, means body's defense system, is now called immunology. Emil von Behring discovered for the first time that in the body's defense system, there are specialized proteins which are being prepared called antibodies, which will fight against the pathogens and they will kill them. He is now regarded as father of immunology. So who coined the term? What is immunology? And who is the father of immunology? What he discovered? This points has to be remembered carefully for the NEET examination. Remember again, antibodies are specialized proteins prepared by the body to kill the foreign material or maybe a pathogen. Okay, note one thing, our body cannot identify is it just a chemical or is it a pathogen. He just can identify these substances which entered in the body is not the part of this human body. So he will regard it as foreign material and it should be neutralized or it should be killed up. This is the only thing our body will be knowing it. Thus, it will safeguard us. Immunity is not the property of only human body defense. Never, students. immunity is present in entire animal kingdom. All the animals which are there are having certain sort of immunity present in them. But only one thing I can say, in the mammals, this immunity is the most advanced. In all the mammals, it is advanced, including human being. So we are interested to study human immunity. This human immunity which is there, then I can classify in a broader way in this particular flowchart manner. You people have to remember this chart to the best, then only you will understand how the human defense system is actually been working up. The immunity which is there in a human being or any mammal is classified into two parts. Left hand side, innate immunity or inborn immunity. Means what? That immunity which comes right from the birth and will stay till our death. So the immunity which a person will get right from the birth and which stays throughout the life is called inborn, right from the birth, technically called innate immunity. This innate or inborn immunity which is there is such a immunity which will never classify whether the foreign material is a pathogen or it is not a pathogen. He will never think of that. He just said, you are not the part of this body, I am going to kill it. Means he cannot identify is it a pathogen or is it a useful substance. Hence, we call innate immunity as non-specific defense mechanism. Non-specific because he cannot classify specifically, is it a foreign substance, means is this foreign substance a pathogen or is it a useful substance? He can't classify that. So we call him as non-specific. Means example, sometimes operations will be done up and doctors will add certain stitches. Doctors may be placing certain steel rods inside the body. So body will say that it is a foreign material and I am going to kill it. It will never classify ki, array, is it going to give the disease or it is just about a neutral substance. He will never think that. He says this is something different and I'm not going to allow, I'm going to kill it. Hence I say it cannot classify is it good or bad. Hence we call non-specific body defense mechanism, which is that innate or inborn. It comes right from the birth, stays throughout the life. Right hand side, acquired or adaptive immunity. What is this? This immunity never comes right from the birth. It never comes right from the birth. The time a child comes to the birth, that child will get exposed towards different pathogens throughout the life now. Whichever pathogen will enter in the body, through that the child will suffer for 2 to 4 days. Once the child will suffer for 2 to 4 days, then the body will develop a best defense system by learning the entire pathogen. How is this pathogen? It will learn it in a span of 2 to 4 days. And the time it will learn it up, it will adapt itself and develop some special mechanism, special arms and ammunition our body will prepare. And by which specifically that pathogen, he will kill it. And once he kills that pathogen, he has learned it. How was that pathogen? How did I kill it? And he will keep memory now. The time it will keep the memory, this memory will stay between few months to many years also. So that next time, if the same pathogen enters in the body, suddenly our body says, I know, how is this pathogen? He had come in my body earlier also. I know how to kill it. Suddenly that pathogen will be killed. Recall all the vaccines whichever we are been taking right from our birth. Every vaccine is nothing but a real pathogen only added in your body in the name of vaccine. Real pathogen in the name of vaccine is added in your body. Why? Because the time a real pathogen is added, this acquired or adaptive immunity will see this. It will not identify it as a vaccine. It will say, "Arey yaar, it is a pathogen." He will see that pathogen. He will learn how does it look. It will kill that pathogen, means practically vaccine. The time it will kill up about that pathogenous vaccine, then it will skip a memory. It will say that next time anyone looks like this, I'm going to kill it at the same moment. So memory it can. So why are we giving vaccines? Vaccines we are giving to the body so that body should get trained how the pathogen actually is looking. Vaccine is mimicking the real pathogen. It is looking like a pathogen. So we give the training to our body. Look, pathogen looks like this. So you get trained how to kill it. So that in the future, if real pathogen comes, you should be on the front side to kill up that pathogen. This is how corona vaccinations are given. What is corona vaccination? Some particles or the real pathogen coronavirus is added in a body. So that body should get trained how to identify the coronavirus and how to kill it. If it is killing it, the vaccine, then memory will be kept. Now, really in the future, if real coronavirus comes, body's defense system suddenly identify, at this area that pathogen comes. We know how we have killed it. Some days earlier, we know how we have killed. So suddenly it will go and kill the real pathogen. Getting it? But this particular memory, which is there in acquired or adaptive immunity, it does not stay always lifelong like. There are certain diseases where the memory stays lifelong, but there are certain diseases where this adaptive immunity stays for a few days. Note one thing, we all are having innate or inborn immunity same, because this is genetically controlled. Innate or inborn immunity is genetically controlled. So you or me or all of us is having same innate or inborn immunity. But acquired or adaptive immunity is not because of the genes. The body has to learn this whenever pathogen will enter in the body. Like example, many students who are sitting here now might have got chicken pox at some or the other stage in their life. Whoever has got the chicken pox, surely you have got treated, means your body's defense system has got activated. Now in your life, never you are going to suffer with chickenpox, because memory is being developed in your body how to identify the chickenpox virus and how to kill it. Now in this classroom, many students are there who might have never got up chickenpox anytime. Means their body has not adapted, the body has never learned how the chickenpox virus looks up actually, and neither they might have taken vaccine also. In such cases, their body is never knowing how the chickenpox virus looks. So there is very likely chance in the future, if the chickenpox virus enters in their body, they are going to suffer with some symptoms. So acquired or adaptive immunity, we only have to develop it. And we only means you need not go to any training center and learn it. No, your body has to get exposed towards that pathogen. Otherwise, in the form of vaccine, that pathogen should be added. Then only your body will identify that pathogen and it will kill it. This is very, very specific mechanism, which is given for all the mammals, including human being. This is called acquired, because we are acquiring as we are surviving. Our body will adapt it, looking at the pathogen, how to develop it up. I also call it as learned defense system. It is very specific because it specifically identifies who is that pathogen. It will kill and keep the memory, hence called specific defense mechanism. So human being is having two types of immunity, innate or inborn, and acquired or adaptive immunity. Till here, these two different classification, any student is having any problem. No question should be asked related to corona vaccinations and other, because still you people have not learned really what is vaccine and other. So don't bubble up in asking such types of questions. Keep a patience. When the time comes of a concept I will be discussing on vaccine, you can ask your all the questions. Till then, I'm not going to answer any of such particular doubts. First, learn the immunity. Has everyone understood what is innate and acquired immunity differences? I'm still not completed with innate and inborn. Further, I didn't go, so do not ask up anything. I don't understand why students here will bubble so fast. Have patience. You want to be a doctor means you should have a patience. Chalo, moving up further now. Innate or inborn immunity, which is there. Innate or inborn immunity, which has been there now, which comes right from the birth, because this is present in our genes only, and they have given this specialized defense system in our body. This defense system is actually further classified into two parts: external defense system, internal defense system. I will call, like an MBBS syllabus, external defense system as first line of defense. And internal defense system, I will call it as second line defense system. While the acquired immunity, I will be calling it as third line of defense. To make you understand the simple particular ways, let's move back into our Indian defense system, our country's defense system, slightly going up to get up comparison students. Let's have an understanding. In our country also, if your house is there, imagine if you are able to afford it, then in front of your house, or let's take it about our college itself. Okay, our Tungal College, Jamkhandi branch, we shall consider it. In the Tungal College, no other people should enter inside the college campus. So college has appointed some security guard at the particular gate. The duty of the security guard is no other people should be allowed to enter into the campus except faculties, students, and the required some of the parents. Means, looking at the security guard itself, many of the thieves, many of the other people who want to make certain negativeness, automatically looking at the security guard, they will stop. Means almost 95% of the problems are resolved already only because security guard is kept at the doorstep. Yes or not? I will call that security guard like structure in our body as an external defense, which is first line of defense, because he sees that no one without the permission should enter inside the campus. Like this, in our body also, many structures are there, which will see that never pathogen should be easily allowed to enter in the body. For a simple example, I will say skin. Full body, we are having the skin, students. So skin is going to work like a security guard who says that whatever pathogens, you are in the air, you are in the water, you can sit on the skin, but you will never be allowed to enter inside. So any person can stand outside the gate, but if they want to enter inside the gate, they should take the permission of security guard. This is external defense, first line of defense. Did you get it up? So I'm comparing up about our Indian defense system with our body's defense system. Coming up, what is internal defense system? Sometimes, let's take an example. Example we shall take. A building is present, which is having a security guard also. Any city, we don't know, just about a X building is there. It is having certain security guards. Sometime it happened that some of the particular people, they may be thieves, robbers, which are there. They easily entered inside the building without getting identified by the security guard. Maybe they might have disguised themselves in some different particular uniforms and they might have entered in the building. So the security guard was unable to identify that when they have entered inside the building. So can I say now that first line of defense has got failed? Because security guard didn't identify them, and the pathogens, I mean the thieves, now have entered inside the building. So first line of defense has got failed. Khatam. Now what these robbers will do? Robbers have entered inside the building and now they will start doing the robbery. Surely in the building, some people may be there who identified up about that first line of defense is failed. So these robbers have entered and now they want to call up the police. Because they understood security guard cannot do anything. Because hardly 1 or 2 security guards, how they can control so many robbers which has come up with some arms and ammunition. So some of the people will call up the police and says that here robbers have entered in this building, please come and save us. So second line of defense has got activated. The government has kept in every taluka, every place, certain police department. The duty of the police is to look after if any crimes have been conducted, suddenly they should be neutralized or those people should be catched hold or they should be killed. This is the duty of the police department. So police will be coming up and if the police comes, almost about maximum times the problems will be resolved. So the thing is 95% of the crimes will never happen because security guard is present at the gate side. But there is a chance that 5% chances are there crimes can happen. And if that happens, then police department will take a control. Similarly, in our body, internal defense is there, which is second line of defense, who will take an action. Now it may be curiosity for you, sir, who is that internal defense in our body, sir? External defense, you said skin. Who is that internal defense? If they have penetrated the skin and entered inside, surely they are in the tissues or the blood only, na? Then who is there? Can anybody say me who is that internal defense giving structure? Anyone can say me up? In the blood, who will be there? Who will take this action? Perfect. It's a WBC who can be called as a police department. It's an internal defense who can take about these actions. Perfect. Chalo, you have understanding now how this defense system of our body is also working. Akshata, it's not antibodies, it's WBCs. WBCs are internal defense system. Okay, chalo. Now let's move up about something further. Something further we shall go now. What is that? Let's imagine this building where the robbers have entered, where police department has come, is present in Kashmir belt. In Kashmir belt, it is present. Let's imagine now. If this building is present in Kashmir belt, some people called up the police department. Police department went over there and they looked about the scenario. They said the robber, you surrender yourself, otherwise we are going to kill it. They came to understand that these robbers are there. But the time second line of defense, the police department went over there, suddenly the robbers started firing with their arms and ammunitions. They may be having AK-47, AK-57, and so rifles they were having, some grenades they were having. They suddenly started shooting up on the particular police department. Police department said, with a normal rifle or up about our guns, how can we have up about a fight with this particular people? They understood these are not the normal robbers. These are surely the terrorists only. We can't take an action on this. It means that police department failed. Means internal defense system, the second line of defense can get failed. But what is the chances? Hardly 0.1% chances, because 95% problem were resolved by first line of defense. Somewhere 4.9% chances were resolved by a second line of defense. Hardly 0.1% chances. And how many areas will be there where terrorists will attack? Very few now. But if they are there, that is also dangerous. So our government has kept up army. We are having naval force. We are having air force. These particular specialized forces which are there in our country are being trained perfectly how to kill about a terrorist, how to plan it, how to kill it. These all the army are given a very proper training. So can I call them as adaptive immunity? Because they have been trained. The time the army will come up towards that particular building, now they will identify, looking at their particular arms and ammunition, that whatever they are been throwing up the grenades, they are been just doing the firing. By that they will identify how many arms and ammunitions they may be having it, and how many people are there. Now army will plan perfectly, and whenever army will plan anything, 100% all the terrorists will get up killed. Means problems are resolved to the 100%. That is very specific, that is very certain. Yes or not? Then I will call that supreme defense system as third line of defense system. Similarly, in our body, such specialized defense system is existing. Perfect. Now that comes antibodies. Antibiotics also, very correct. Antibodies, antibiotics, this all comes under acquired adaptive immunity, third line of defense. Hope now you people have got a general idea how our defense system usually is been working it out. Okay, no problems. Hope you people may be getting up an interest how this defense system is going to be working up, and we are going to learn in a detail. You have to be with me continuously for all the classes that we are going to learn to the best of this defense system part. Let's begin then. Let's begin with this first type of defense, which is going to be the first defense now. Tell me, students, it's going to be innate or inborn. In that which we are going to learn first then. First line of defense, our security guard, we are going to learn it, which is external defense system. Perfect. Shall let's begin innate or inborn. Don't say, sir, you have not discussed active immunity, passive immunity. Now it is not the time. First, we shall learn detail about external and internal defense. Later, when I will teach you adaptive immunity, that time again I will come with this photograph and then I will explain each and everything. Is it clear? Because now if we learn now, then again it will become a confusion. Shall let's start innate or inborn. Innate or inborn immunity which is there, I have already said it should be called non-specific body defense. Why non-specific? Because it cannot distinguish between is it a pathogen or is it not a pathogen. Neither, if it once kills that pathogen, in the next time it cannot identify he was the same who had come earlier. That memory also this defense system will not have. Means non-specific body defense will not have memory. This has come to our body right from our birth. So we will call it as innate or inborn immunity. Means if it has come right from the birth, surely up about it is genetically controlled. Means our parents were having, so we are been having it. So I will call genetic immunity. We call familiar immunity because everyone is having this right from the birth to the entire life. This is very generalized response against the pathogen. Any pathogen comes, its way of treating is the same. How to avoid them, that method is the same. But this defense system is without antibodies, without any antibody. Just it is a general response. Stop. What security guard will say? Wait, don't enter inside. Gate is there. No one is allowed inside. Generalized. Suppose if I goes up about to this college for the first time, they would have stopped me also. Might be they have stopped you also. It's a generalized response. Whoever comes, security guard will stop them. It's like that. So non-specific body defense is a very generalized response. This defense system resists the infection by directly blocking the pathogens and sometimes destroying them directly. But during this time, they will never prepare any antibodies. Antibodies are never prepared. This type of immunity is inherited to us by our parents and protects us right from the birth throughout the life. This particular non-specific body defense which is there is further classified into two types: external or first line of defense and internal or second line of defense system. The external or first line of defense is classified further into two parts: physical barriers, physiological barriers. While internal and second line of defense is classified into again two types: cellular barriers and cytokine barriers. In your NCERT textbook, they have not taken any word about first line of defense or external defense. Neither they have taken word on second line or internal defense. They have directly said non-specific body defense are of four types: physical, physiological, cellular, and cytokine. Direct four terms are been given to you. But when you enter in MBBS, you will be taught the way I am teaching it. So I don't say NCERT is wrong. NCERT just has not classified into first line and second line of defense. Otherwise, everything they have kept the perfect. Is it clear? But you have to learn in a real sense how it should be targeted. Till here, any student having any difficulties, any confusions, please do can ask up. We are going to learn now detailed first line of defense. I'll complete those two. Later, I will teach you today second line of defense also. And we are going to start, if time permits, third line also. Any student having any difficulties? Nothing? Is it very okay? Shalom. Take the photographs and go on continuing taking the photographs so that you can prepare your notes systematically. Chalo, let's begin our first line of defense, our security guard. In the first line of defense or external immunity, the thing is, look at the top, they do not allow the pathogens to enter inside the blood or the tissues. Means what is first line of defense? It is such a particular defense system which will never allow any foreign material or pathogen to enter inside the body. Inside the body means what? Either blood or the tissues. Apart from that, what is there in our body? But this first line of defense, I have said, is classified into two parts: physical barrier and physiological barrier. So in that first one, physical barriers, it is also called external barrier. Why? Because it is having the external lining of our body. Whatever our body is there, the outermost covering which is there is made by this particular structures, physical barrier, like external lining, eyes, lining of the respiratory tract, gastrointestinal tract, urinogenital system, from where there are chances that the pathogens can enter. How it helps? It always will trap those microbes or the pathogens or any foreign substance entering in the body. Their job is just avoid them not to enter in the body. Which are those? The physical barriers which I'm speaking, external lining, eyes, lining of respiratory tract, gastrointestinal tract, etc. I can say examples like skin. Skin is the largest physical barrier present on our body. Skin is made up of non-keratinized epithelial tissue, which is very tough, and it does not allow any penetration from any pathogens, neither any microbes, neither bacteria, neither any other substances. Even if you apply some cosmetic creams on your skin, it is also never entering inside. It is only in the TV channels they will be showing that if you apply some cosmetic creams, it will go deep inside the skin and brighten your skin. It is just about foolishness. Never our skin will allow any substances to enter. So skin is a non-specific. He cannot identify is it a good or a bad. He just said, I am there here. No one allowed to enter in the body. Cut off. So skin becomes the biggest physical barrier. Second, but maybe our 95% plus body is covered everywhere by the skin. But there are certain areas wherein there is a chance that some pathogens can enter. Like we are taking the breathing continuously. So along with our respiration, if any pathogen enters inside our body, then surely there are certain structures. Like point number 4, nasal hairs. Our nostrils, which are there of our nose, just at the entry in the nostril, some hairs are there called nasal hairs. Nasal hairs are growing unevenly in our nostril. And these nasal hairs will work like a filter. The time you take a deep breath, in that breath, if some dust is there, if some foreign pathogens are there, then these hairs will trap them. The time it will trap them, automatically your nostril sensory cells will identify something has got up trapped over here. Suddenly a nerve connections will go towards your lungs and it will say it suddenly contract, and that comes out in the form of coughing or sneezing. Can you recall, student, the time in your house when you are dusting the house, if the dust particles you inhale from your nose, suddenly you will start getting a sneezing, sometimes coughing, because this is a body's response to remove out any foreign pathogens if are trying to enter. Because body cannot identify it was a dust or it was a pathogen. It just says, who wants to take a risk here? Something is entering, I will quickly remove them. Khatam. So coughing and sneezing, which are mechanical actions, are actually a type of physical barrier only. Similarly, if anything moves from our nose directly into our lungs, then can you recall, students, bronchus, bronchioles till alveoli is everywhere ciliated epitheliums are there. Those wall epitheliums are having cilia. What the cilia will do? Continuous beating. So that if any foreign pathogens are there inside or dust is there, the cilia will be beating to remove them out of our body. And that comes in the form of, again, coughing or by running nose. So mucus has been secreted, that will remove it outside. So mucosal membranes, which are there in this particular epithelium, are actually a part of physical barrier. What mucosal membrane will do, student? Imagine if pathogen has entered. Imagine if a pathogen has entered and is sitting in that pipeline, say up about our bronchus. Then the mucosal membrane, the lining of the bronchus secretes the mucus. You know, our mucus is very jelly substance. The time the jelly substance is given, the foreign pathogen get trapped up into that particular mucus. Because our mucus is a jelly sticky substance, foreign pathogen get up trapped into that particular mucus. Now our ciliated epithelium pushes that mucus having the trapped pathogen slowly to the outside. So it will travel from the bronchus through the larynx to the pharynx. It will come via the nose in the form of running nose, or maybe coughing or sneezing. They will be thrown out of the body. This is how a defense system works. Now tell me, students, is the mucus or the particular cough and cold is given by pathogen? No, they are a response given by our body to remove the pathogen. So getting cough and sneezing is good or bad? Getting coughing and sneezing is good or bad, students? Now tell me. It's good. It's always good, because whenever we get cough and sneezing, we should say that, oh, my defense system is still working. Because of that, it is removing everything out of the body. So that is perfectly working. So you should say, my body is still very good. Is it perfect? Shalom. Going further. You know, on our face, human face, if you take it up, you can see that we are having up about eyebrows. We are having eyelids, eyelashes also we are been having it. Is it true? Hope you can identify up about this particular structures. Our eyebrows are there. Now, can you recall, students, your eyebrows, how are present? They are thick at the center and they will become thinner as you move towards your ears area. Is it true? Your eyebrows will start becoming narrower at the towards up about the ears. Means after the end of the eyes only, they will be becoming thinner. Why it is like that? Human being has adapted towards the standing habit. So if the standing habit is there, there is a likely chance that the rainfall will be taking place, or because of work, the sweat will be coming up. So imagine if the sweat comes on your forehead, what will happen? Directly that sweat may be entered in your eyes only, and that saltiness would have damaged your eyes. So what nature did, it prepared the eyebrows. How? Thicker at the center, thinner at the corner. So automatically whatever the water is coming from the forehead part will be diverted at the side areas, and as a result via your particular face it will be dropped downwards. Means those particular water particles which you take from the bath, which you take it especially from the sweat or from the rainfall, never will enter directly in your eyes. This is a protection. So why we are having eyebrows, the reason is not to look good, but it is a specialized structure prepared by our defense system to divert the water away from the eyes. How beautifully the body has developed. Similarly, eyelids are there. Has any time you have thought that why our eyes are having the eyelids? Protection. And even if you ask a question, sir, why eyelids are closing from top to bottom? Is anybody is having about the eyelids from the bottom and closing up at the top? No, from the top it will close it. Why? Because anytime if the water from the top will fall down, then eyelids will work up like a shelter for your eyes. It will not allow substances to enter in your eyes. Otherwise, if it would be opening from the bottom and closing at the top, then directly we would be adding the waste in our eyes only. So see how the nature is very fine. Nicely it has engineered our body so that we should get the defense system. So eyelids, eyebrows, eyelashes automatically. You know, our eyelids are having thin hairs, eyelashes. any dust will accumulate on that. Suddenly they are so sensory, we will identify and we will wipe it unknowingly. Unknowingly, our hands will go towards our eyelids and we will clean it. This is how defense system is working. Got it? So whether it is our intestine, which is having the villi, ciliated epithelium, whether our respiratory system, which is having ciliated epithelium, whether our urinary system, which is having a proximal convoluted tubule, which is having ciliated epithelium, or in the female fallopian tube, which is there, which is having ciliated epithelium, there all the roles are mainly defense system. They will avoid always any foreign substance not to enter in the body. Hope you got the things very clearly. Chalo, let's move further. Take the photograph so that I can teach you the next part, which is physiological barrier. Remember, physical barrier comes in first line of defense. Physiological barrier also will come in first line of defense. Okay, chalo, let's move. Physiological barriers. Take the photograph now only, students. Physiological barrier. It is also called chemical barrier. Please watch it. The first one was physical barrier, which I called external barrier, because it is having certain covering of the openings. Now you may say, sir, but lungs were there inside our body now. Very true, but those pipelines are directly connected to the outside now. So anything from outside enters in the body, then these are the pipelines which are going to work like a border now. Correct? So this is also external barrier only. But I am speaking here regarding physiological barrier, which are certain chemicals present in the physical barrier area. Wherever our physical barrier is there, there if some chemicals are there who are behaving like a defense system, then they are called physiological barriers. We call chemical barriers. How are these? These are certain chemicals present in our skin, respiratory system, eyes, gastrointestinal tract, urinogenital system, ears, etc., where there is a chances that pathogen can stay, harbor. But how do they work? The chemicals which are being released at these areas will kill or will neutralize that microbe or foreign substance so that they should not enter inside the tissues or the blood. Oh, which are those chemicals then? First, you can recall, students, anytime if any substance enters in your eyes, usually physical barrier like eyelids will close and nothing will enter in your eyes. But still certain times accidentally if anything enters in your eyes, tears start coming. The time the tears will start coming, in that tears water will be there, which will throw away all the particular particles entered in your eyes. But body feels that maybe in the eyes, whatever the dust has entered, there may be certain bacteria present. To kill that bacteria, in the tears, lysozyme enzyme is present. Lysozyme enzyme is a bactericidal enzyme. What is bactericidal in this? Lysozyme breaks down cell wall of bacteria. So what is the role of lysozyme, students? Breaking the cell wall of the bacteria, thereby killing the bacteria. So if anything enters in our eyes, tears will start coming, more tears will come, so that with the flow of water, that foreign pathogen should be removed. And if it stays inside, then lysozyme will kill the cell wall of the bacteria if bacteria has entered, thereby giving the defense system. Note one thing, if bacteria cell wall is damaged, bacteria undergoes a death. This is how our body has learned it. This lysozyme is not only present in our tear, students, it is also available in our saliva. Because whenever we are been staying it, our eyes are open, our mouth is also open when we are speaking. And the time when we are speaking or eating or drinking something, along with that, bacteria also will enter. If you hold your water or your food into your mouth for some small period of time, then in the saliva, lysozyme enzyme will kill the bacteria. Can you recall, students, what our elderly people will say? Drink the water slowly. Slowly drink the water, they say. They say that when you take a water, whenever we take the water and keep it in our mouth for at least some 10 to 15 seconds, usually we'll be very hurry, we drink the water suddenly. But if you keep up about a small amount of water in your mouth and later swallow it, then in that water, automatically the lysozyme enzyme from saliva will get mixed. And if any bacteria is there, will undergo a death. Hence, our elderly people says, drink slowly the water. Don't drink it suddenly. They may not be knowing the importance, but this is the importance, student. Also recall up, they say that whenever you are eating, don't eat very fast. Take the food, chew it for a more period of time. Chew a single particular pellet for at least about 15 to 32 times, they will be saying it. Why? The more you chew, the more saliva will mix up into the food, and the more saliva mixes, automatically lysozyme enzyme will search wherever bacteria are there and it will kill it. It is though non-specific. If bacteria is there, lysozyme will kill it. Means whatever food you will swallow, surely it is free from the bacterial thing. Lysozyme is not going to kill any funguses, any protozoan, any viruses. It is designed to kill only bacteria. See, you cannot say that we should have certain things that it should be supreme. No, at every step, different barrier. And it is a security guard. Na? How can you say that he should behave like an armed forces only? Like army, it will not work. But still, he is doing its best action. Got it? Lysozyme, very interesting, present in tears and saliva. Second, in our saliva, there is an also chemical called lactoferrin, which will also neutralize the pathogens. Any pathogen will get neutralized. Suppose you say that, sir, suppose if that particular pathogen escapes, or suppose, sir, if that pathogen was not a bacteria, it was a fungus, or it was a protozoan, or if it was a virus, and we have it has directly entered in our stomach now from the mouth, then what? Then in the stomach, dilute HCl will be present. Any pathogens whose body type is basic or neutral, means that whatever surface chemicals of the pathogen is a basic or neutral, this acid will directly make up a acid base reaction and will nullify it. It will directly kill them. So that pathogen should undergo a death. Got it? Simple. Suppose you say, suppose, sir, if the pathogen, as you said, is not having the basic structure on the surface, it is also acidic, then he's not going to get killed by the dilute HCl. Very sure. Then from the stomach, is the food going to go in small intestine or not, students? The time it enters in small intestine will have basic pH because of bile juice. So if your pathogen was acidic, if it enters in the intestine environment is basic, automatically this acid of the pathogen combined with the basic environment undergo acid-base reaction, undergoes a death. So anyhow, they will be get killed. So our body system is designed only in such a way that reactions of digestion also should happen and care of the foreign pathogens also should be taken. Third, okay, sir, we understood in the physical barrier from the nose, if something enters, you said sneezing, coughing, mucus, everything. But what about What about if the pathogen now is entering from our ears? Pradeep is asking, sir, intestinal juice is acidic or basic? Basic. So only I said, na, in small intestine, in the whatever intestinal juices are there, those are basic. So only it will kill the acidic pathogens. So basic pathogens will die in stomach due to acid, and acidic pathogens will die in the intestine, small intestine, by basic pH of the small intestine. Now, if the pathogen enters via the ears, our ears, if they enter, you know, inside our ears, wax is getting developed. Wax, it's a dark colored sticky substance that is called earwax. Earwax in medical terminology is called cerumen. So what is cerumen, students? Earwax. Write and keep it. Cerumen refers to earwax. What it does? It is also going to work like that mucus only. Na? If any pathogen tries to enter from our ears, the cerumen will be secreted more and it will trap up about the pathogen. So when you understand that I'm unable to listen properly, you will clean your ears automatically. Along with that cerumen or earwax, the pathogen will be removed out of your ears. This is how protection means. Every opening of our body, certain security guards are kept. See, I'm speaking first line of defense, that they are security guards only. Na? See how they are working perfectly. So many security guards, so many different types are there. Next, what about, sir, on the skin? You said skin is a tougher structure. You said they can't drill, they cannot enter. But still, if they grow in a large number, they can drill and enter. Na? No, it is not possible. Whenever any pathogen is growing up on our skin, if they start developing, then our skin will release sweat. What is sweat? Sweat is salty particular water secretion which has been there. Why salt water? Salt water means is having a about higher concentration. You know, it is like solute dissolved into the water as a solvent. So concentration is more. And at the higher concentration, it will make osmosis into the pathogen. Remember, if actually a pathogen is been growing, if imagine this is a pathogen, and now around the area, if you are having here everything salt concentration water, then this is having more concentration, while pathogen is having less concentration. Then what will happen? First year syllabus, water will move from a region of less concentration to a region of more concentration. This is called exosmosis. So pathogen undergoes a death due to loss of water. Okay, so why our skin will release the sweat? To kill the pathogen. Yes, we know, sir, sweat is coming when we feel it hot. Surely, because when we feel it hot, to cool the body, sweating is there. But in the sweat, saltiness is there only because when sweat glands will open, from that small holes of the sweat gland, pathogen wants to enter. Then sweat which contains salty concentration will kill the pathogen by exosmosis. Sebum refers to oil. You know, our skin will have oil secretions. Some people are having more oily skin. Some people are having dry skin, means less oily, and other. Now, why the people are having some more oily skin? Why some people are having less oily skin? It is based on the genes, how the skin is being prepared. Sebaceous glands prepares the sebum or oil. Perfect. Now, whenever a person's skin is not that tougher, not so good, because this defense system is coming from genetic action. Na? So if the skin is not that good, then his skin will have more sebaceous glands, means more oil is secreted, means more sebum. Oil is what? Fatty acids. And fatty acids means acidic chemical will kill the pathogens. While those people whose skin is more rough, more tougher, they will have less sebaceous gland, means they will have less oily secretion. So do not next time hate yourself saying that why my skin is so much oily. If it is oily, then the body has understood that your skin is not so tougher, which can fight with the pathogens. So I'm giving an extra protection to you of releasing the oils. So don't take up any specialized soaps to remove the oil from your skin. You should be happy that your body is protecting you. This is how the defense system is working. See, our respiratory system protection, physical barrier done. Our eyes and mouth, this helped. Stomach, if it has entered, this will kill. If it has entered into the ears, this will kill. If in the intestine, if on the skin. Srushti is asking a question. Sir, the people who are having oily skin, they usually get the pimples, sir. Why? There only is the answer. Na? What did I say? The people whose skin is not tougher, not best, they have been given up about more sebaceous glands, more oily skin. Now here the question is coming, sir, why those people will get more pimples? The reason is we may be washing our skin more number of times with the help of soaps, very harsh soaps we may be using it. So because of that, our oil is not getting secreted. The time you wash your mouth or you wash your face, suddenly these oils are being removed from your skin. This gives a permission immediately for the pathogens to enter. Now, suppose this is a skin. This is a skin. If you remove the oil, then suddenly the pathogen will try to enter. Now, to stop this, our skin will ooze out like this. And in the skin, now WBCs will come. So you can see the pimples which are there are reddish to about whitish because blood has entered here, which is fighting with the pathogens. So the best ways to avoid the pimples is don't use harsh soaps, which can remove the entire oil from your skin. Do not do that. Otherwise, if a person does it, then there is a chance that pathogens will try to enter, and to kill this pathogen, our blood will come and get aggregated here. So the swelling like structure called pimples are developing. So here there may be people who may be saying that, sir, I am having oily skin, but I don't have pimple. Good. The reason is you may not be using any harsh soaps. So your oil is still intact on the skin. So it is giving the protection. So you don't have the pimples. Simple answer. Hope you people have got the things very clearly. Now the time you see your NCRT, now you will feel ki yaar NCRT suddenly it completed everything, but sir is taking about from so long time in a detail. The reason is to identify you that how our defense system works. Okay. Chalo, the last one which is there. In the case of females, there is a one more opening which is vagina. The vagina which is there is also a direct opening through which the pathogens can enter. Then to kill those pathogens in the vagina, lactic acid is getting prepared. Hydrogen peroxide is present. You know, hydrogen peroxide which is there is a germicidal chemical. It kills the germs. So in the vagina, hydrogen peroxide kills the germs. Lactic acid also will see that no pathogen should develop there. The acidic environment kills the pathogen. This is how the vagina will get protected. Now here many people may ask up, sir, what about anus and what about urinary system? I have already said, urinogenital system which is there also contains about ciliated epithelium, anus line which is there, their intestine areas are coming, they also will have the protection. So already it is covered. So what again and again to teach it? So look up now your body. Every opening of your body, there is certain security guard which has been standing, either in the form of physical barrier, either in the form of physiological barrier. They are barriers now, they're not allowing them. Okay, done students? Hope you have taken the photograph. I'll be taking it further then. Chalo. Now, before carrying you into the next defense system, that is second line of defense system, internal defense system, I need to make you identify first about WBCs, because you have already said me, sir, second line of defense system, police department, which is there, we should call WBC because they are in the tissues or in the blood. Then first you need to know which are the types of WBCs now. WBCs are classified into two types, granulocytes and agranulocytes. Remember, in the blood, platelets are there, formed elements and plasma. Formed elements means cellular part, means RBC, platelets, and WBCs. RBC and platelet does not give defense system. Only WBCs help in defense system. WBCs are amoeba-like structure which are moving it. But in human body, they are of two types. Agranulocytes means if you see those cells, you will never feel any granules-like structure. Dotted things are not there in their cell. They're very clear, transparent cytoplasm. But another is granulocytes, dotted particular cytoplasm, you will be able to see it. Let's see, how does it look? The granulocytes which are there are further of three types, students. The first one is neutrophils. Look at the particular cell, students. If you look up at the cells, you can able to see that there are many dotted structures which are been there. Can you see this dotted structure? This is called granulocytes. Their cytoplasm is more granular. The neutrophils are having their nucleus. This, can you see the bigger structures? Nucleus, which is many lobed structure. Many lobed nucleus they will be having. They are the most abundant WBCs available in our blood, and they are first to reach the site of infections. If a pathogen enters in the blood or any of the tissues or organ, neutrophils will be the first to come there. The second one is eosinophils. Can you see his cytoplasm is also more granular, and his nucleus is bilobed structure. So many lobes are there in neutrophils. Nucleus is many lobed in neutrophils, and two lobe in the case of eosinophils. The third type of granulocyte is the basophil, which is not having a lobed nucleus, but it is just having about some nucleus which is variously folded. That's all. The other side which has been there is agranulocytes. Granulocytes like monocytes. Now you may say, sir, here also some dots are there. No, those are normal particular dots. It's not like the earlier diagram which you have seen. Monocytes. It is having kidney-shaped nucleus which has been there. Monocytes. And the next one is lymphocytes, which are of two types, T cells and B cells. T cells and B cells are having a larger circular nucleus. These T cells and B cells are known to give adaptive immunity. So I can simply say up to you that neutrophils, basophil, eosinophil, and monocytes, these four will help in second line of defense. While T cells and B cells which are there will help in third line of defense. They will help in third line of defense. So who helps in third line of defense? T cells and B cells, lymphocytes. While other four which are there will work in second line of defense. These neutrophils, basophil, eosinophil, and monocytes itself are called with different names now. How different name? Macrophages. They are also called as natural killer cells. Like that, different names are there depending upon their functions. Means where they will go and how they will kill the pathogen. Based on that, these all four which are there are having the different names, like NK cell, natural killer cell. Okay. Apart from that, macrophages means who will phagocytose a pathogen directly, means eat the pathogen. Based on that, their names are different. Okay, take the photograph of this. This was your first year syllabus circulation chapter, students. where percentage also was given, each is in how much percentage with their functions. Can you recall that? So that you have to check it. Here I'm showing with the help of photographs. That's all. Chalo, I am now completed with first line of defense. I'm entering in second line of defense. What is second line of defense? Second line of defense means if our security guard gets failed. If our security guards get failed, who is our security guard? You know, physical barrier, physiological barrier. If the pathogen escape from the physical and physiological barrier, means if it survives even though so much defense was there, then now 100% pathogen has entered inside the blood or in the tissues or organs of our body. Any tissue or organ, they may be present. And now the first line of defense is I'm helpless because he has gone inside there. How can I go and fight it? I can't do it up. So he is very stronger. Mostly I cannot fight with it. So you better call up the best defense system. So body says, okay, no problems. If the pathogen has entered up about in our blood and tissues, then I'm going to kill them up. So this defense system which has been there does not allow the pathogens to survive if they have entered inside the blood or tissues. Recall what was first line. They will not allow to enter in the blood and tissues. First line. But second line says, if they have entered, I will not allow them to survive in the blood and tissues. In these two types are there, cellular barriers and cytokine barriers. Let's study first cellular barrier. Cellular barrier is because of certain cells. So the name cellular barrier, mainly leukocyte. Leukocyte means WBCs. Where are they present? They are present in blood. They are present in tissues. Can you recall in first year you have learnt up many human tissues which are been there? In that human tissues, you will be learning that WBCs are there here and there, macrophages. Same thing. So present in blood, tissues, lymph system, they are been present. They help in instant defense system if any foreign substance or pathogen enters in blood, in tissues, or in the lymphatic system. Either they will go and eat the pathogen called phagocytosis, or they will kill them into fine particles, that is called bursting, explode them up. By giving certain chemicals, they will explode them. The time the pathogen like microbes have entered in the tissues, they will either die by phagocytosis or either will die by bursting. This role is done by certain WBCs. Who are those? Who are those dangerous WBCs? Yeah. These are macrophages, which are present in connective tissues. Macrophages which are been there are a type of neutrophils only, but just they are much larger size. Monocytes, natural killer cells. I have already said you macrophages and natural killer cell term is used based on the type of action they will be doing it up. So this more detail now at this point of time you need not learn, because this you are going to learn in the MBBS part. But I am saying these are the 4 types of WBCs. Either they are present in the tissues, either they are present in the blood, and their job is to go and kill the pathogen. Like natural killer cell which has been there is present up into the blood, but macrophages, natural killer cell is present in our tissues, in the some of the tissues, while macrophages will be present into the blood. Neutrophils and monocyte also in the blood. Each one is having a specific function to go and kill the pathogen. Note one thing, note very important thing. There are certain macrophages which are called antigen presenting cell. What is antigen? Antigen is nothing but the chemicals present on the pathogen. Regarding this antigen presenting cell, I will teach you tomorrow when 3rd line of defense I'll be teaching. So, but why did I write it here? To say you that antigen presenting cell which I am going to teach you, they are nothing but a macrophage only, who was having an important role as cellular barriers. they are going to perform the action. So second line of defense, cellular barriers. Cellular barriers are nothing but if any pathogen entered in the blood or the tissues, certain WBCs like macrophage, neutrophil, monocyte, or natural killer cell either will eat them, phagocytose, or either will burst them out, killing the pathogen. Here one question is there from Manjuna. Sir, why not WBC not kill injection liquid? Who said it will not kill? You know, any medicines or injections when added in our blood will never survive in our blood for a longer period of time. You know, a doctor says when you take a medicine, you take it twice daily. Why he says twice daily? Because the time you take it, mostly within 10 to 12 hours, our defense system will eat that entire medicine. So that medicine is no longer present in your blood. So doctor says to make an action, you have to take 2 times in a day. Depending on how fast it will be killed, doctor says take 3 times in a day, or he will say take once in a day. Otherwise, if a person is suffering with certain diseases, doctor says take this injection every day, one, because doctor knows that our defense system will kill up about that injection liquid also. Don't say that our body will say that, oh, injection, it's a good one. He has spent the money, let it be remain. No, body's defense system says, I'm not going to allow you. Who are you, man? I'm going to kill you. Khatam. Getting it? Okay, Manjuna? Chalo. Let's move further. So cellular barrier, hope you people have understood. Take the photograph. I'll be moving to the last one in the second line of defense so that I can complete innate immunity very systematically. The next one is cytokine barrier. You know, I said in the non-specific body defense, 4 are there: physical, physiological, cellular, and cytokine, as mentioned in NCERT. But I have said you in MBBS, it is classified as first and second line of defense. Okay, coming, cytokine barrier. What are these? These are specialized proteins which are released by certain cells whenever pathogen enters in the body. Looking at the pathogen, certain cells in our body, when they identify this pathogen, they release a specialized protein which will communicate the nearby cell saying that, see, here is the pathogen. Please come and kill that pathogen. So to give the communication to the other cell saying that where is the pathogen, the cells will release certain signals in the form of proteins. You may be imagining it up, how cunningly our body is working it. He's saying that, see, beside there is a pathogen, and he is speaking in his own language, and that language is nothing but protein language. And this protein language, our WBC will identify. The time that language is said, suddenly it will be understood. How it works. The most important one, first one, interferons. Very, very important, students, in the examination for you, between 1 to 2 marks. Very, very important. What are interferons? These are proteins released from the virus infected cells. Means imagine in our body, if suppose these are the tissues which are being present, certain organs tissues, any tissues it may be. Imagine now in this particular tissues, certain pathogens like virus might have entered. Imagine this is a virus. The time it has been entered, what this cell will do, you know? The cells will release a certain protein either on the surface of its own cell or otherwise into the gap. These particular proteins are working like a communication devices by which this cell, this cell, this cell, this cell, this cell, all these cells will get alarmed. What is alarming? This cell says, see, I am infected with virus. It is very sure that I am going to get killed. I am 100% going to get killed. But you get ready now. You get ready. Because the time it is going to kill me, the virus particles are going to come outside. Till then, you have the time to prepare yourself. The time virus come, kill them out. Kill them out, all the viruses. So to communicate the nearby cells, these particular proteins are secreted by the virus infected cells. This will protect the nearby non-infected cells to get a virus attack in the future. Because this cell says, see, I am going to die, but the entire body is a single industry. I may die, but while dying now, you have to promise, you all have to promise me that you will kill all the particles of virus so that this body should get protected. I will give my life, no problems, but body has to survive. This particular interferons, when the virus is present in the cell, it does not allow, this interferon does not allow the virus to increase its number. Now recall, now these viruses are present in the cell. Then what the virus will do? Virus will take the machinery of this infected cell and will increase its number. Then the interferons checks that their number should not increase because he will stop. It will inhibit the viral replication and translation so that neither protein of the virus is prepared, neither his DNA or RNA should get subdivided. Means virus number will not increase. And second, nearby cells are ready with their arms and ammunitions. The time virus come, I will kill it. So this is a specialized device called interferons. I will call it as cytokine barriers. Hope you got it, how it is working. Next, you know, many times when the pathogen enters in our body, fever we will be getting it. Yes or not, students? Many times when pathogen enters, we will get the fever. How the fever comes? There are certain proteins called interleukin-1. We also call them as pyrogens. Suppose this is our blood, and if suppose here some pathogens are moving, then in the blood, when the pathogen is moving, the blood vessel will have certain particular receptors, certain protein structures standing. The time they come in contact with any pathogen, these receptors called interleukin-1 or pyrogens will get activated. Suddenly they will pass the message with all the pyrogen, and in this area they will increase the temperature, which we today call it as fever. So you see, sometimes fever will be only towards certain particular organ. And if the pathogen is present in our entire body, full body fever, we also will be getting it. So fever is localized towards certain organ or might have spread it to our entire body also. Yes or not, students? So who is helping to increase the temperature? Pyrogens. But what we people, idiots, will be doing it, students? Yeah, we are idiots. What we do, students? We take a paracetamol, you know, paracetamol like Crocin, Calpol, Dolo, like that medicine, and we say that, hey, fever, decrease it. I'm unable to do my job. Tell me now, students, is taking a paracetamol a good or bad? Is taking paracetamol is good or bad? Bad. It's bad. How can it be good, students? How can it be good? Because if you say that let the fever let up about why the fever should increase, let it decrease, it means that what you are saying, you know, hey pyrogen, you stop, I don't want you. If the pyrogen is not there, then the all the pathogens which are there now, they will say, thank you, boss, I will increase now and I will kill you. You go to hell. I'm going to survive. You helped me. By stopping this fever, you helped me. Otherwise, this high temperature was killing me. So fever is not given by the pathogen. Fever is given by our body to kill the pathogens. Are you understanding? So pyrogens were good. So whatever the paracetamol we are been taking, whatever paracetamol we are taking to decrease the fever is called as antipyretics, antipyrogen. Now the question is then why the doctor will give the fever medicine, sir? Do you think that doctor is an idiot? No. What doctor will do, you know? He will give the antipyretics, but how he gives it? He says, take this paracetamol, it will decrease your fever. But take this medicine, which is antibiotic, which will kill the pathogen. So he gives both the medicines to you. He will kill the pathogen and he will decrease the temperature. He gives this medicine to make you happy. Which medicine? Paracetamol. So that your fever is decreased, you will be happy. You will say, oh, doctor is very good here. And he will give the antibiotics medicine, which will kill the pathogen. So he is very smart. He handles business at one side and he handles your problem also. But what we people do, whenever we get the fever, we just take only paracetamol. Means we are decreasing the fever, but are we killing the pathogen? No. So it is a good medication? No. If we take only paracetamol, it is never a good medication. So always approach a doctor because he knows how to give the combination medicine. This is how you students in the future, when you become a doctor, your business will run because people surely is going to come to you. Got it, students? No problems. So never take paracetamol on your own. It is never advised. It's never good. Do not take it. Always doctor knows better when to give paracetamol or not, because they will give along with antibiotics. Okay. Next, there are certain cells in our blood vessel which is called mast cells, students. There are certain cells called mast cells. Mast cells are those type of WBC who will prepare a chemicals which are there called as histamines. Suppose you consider, students, you are having, this is the throat part, pharynx, and here if the irritation is there, you know, throat infection, if it is there, then whatever the cells of our areas are there, inside the mast cells will be present. In the blood vessel of our throat, mast cells are there. They release the chemical called histamines. What histamine will do? Histamine will give you up about the cough. Histamine will give you up about the running nose. Means more amount of mucus secretion is given by the histamines. So who is giving the coughing? Who is giving about the cold and cough? Running nose means cold only, na? Who is giving cold and cough? Our body is giving. Why he is giving the cough? So that the pathogen due to coughing should be thrown out. If running nose is there, liquid entrapment will happen. It will throw out the pathogen. Correct or not? But what we people will do, we take a medicines called antihistamines. What are antihistamines? These are those medicines which will neutralize histamine in our body. Then if histamines are neutralized, pathogen says, thank you, boss. I will increase and I will kill you. So tell me, student, if you take only antihistamine directly from the market, is it a good medication? Is it a good medication? No. Then you may say, but doctor will give na. Correct. Doctor gives along with antihistamines what? Antibiotics. Antibiotics will kill the pathogen and antihistamines will relieve your problem. So doctor knows exactly how to treat the problem. Correct, Pradeep. Self-medication is never safe. Got it, students? How our body's cytokine barriers are working. So fever is because of pyrogens, and cough and cold, itching, you know, our skin will get itching also. That is also because of histamines. So never take antihistamine directly. So whenever you suffer with itching, cold and cough, doctor gives antihistamine plus antibiotics. Inflammation, certain times when we get a injury, suppose the injury has been caused, blood has come out, here redness will be developed, swelling will be there, temperature slightly will increase. All this problem is called inflammation. I will teach you regarding the inflammation in the tomorrow's particular class. Akash is asking, for some people, when they eat certain food, they will get runny nose and other. That is called allergy, Akash. Okay, we will have a separate class on allergy in this chapter itself. Okay, that time you will be getting an answer for that. Okay, so hope you people have enjoyed the today's class. What is meant by the body's defense system and how it has been working out very, very systematically. Hope you got how a body is, how perfectly dynamic structure, how intelligently it has been prepared. Okay, so till then, goodbye, study well, and you can make up about the things very perfectly. And if you recall, if you want up about once again to go through this video, then surely it will be posted up today. You can go through the video once again so that a perfection will be developed in your class. Done? Till then, thank you, students. Goodbye.